That reminds me, everybody wants to know the punchline of that joke. Was there ever a punchline of the joke when you're crawling in the thing? Okay, we can settle that after 40 years.
You know, as the script was written, Bender has no lines. He just walks through the thing and falls through. So I asked John, I go, how about if I tell a joke and right before the punchline, I fall through? And then so Emilio, John, Mike, and I tried to figure out a joke that had as its punchline the line I say when I fall through, I forgot my pencil. So we worked for about 15 minutes to come up with the joke, and we couldn't. It's time to shoot, and John just said, let's try and see.
I'm excited. Guys, a round of applause for our gorgeous guests. Come on.
You guys do the audience. What's up, everybody?
Thank you so much for being here with us today. I am very excited. As I said, I'm an 80s baby. So I'm very happy to be sitting with you guys. I love the movie. So I wanted to go back to the 80s and start there. I wanted to understand, first of all, what it was like as a young person, or as an actor, growing up in that time, you know, that era. What was it like for you guys back then as young storytellers? Who wants to start?
I was pretty wasted, so I don't remember.
Love it. Truthful answer. Love it.
It was amazing. I just always want to honor and tip my hat to the great John Hughes. Let's give it up for him. We love you, John. It was amazing. You know, I wouldn't be here without John, and it was just an incredible way to start. He was such a great collaborator and a friend to us all. And those 3 films I did with John, I used to joke with my family. I called it the Puberty on Film trilogy. Very nice. At least I paid for my own braces. Okay, I'm done.
What about you guys, Ali or Molly? What was it like being a young actor back then, back in the 80s?
It was fun. I mean, I loved it. I was going to high school when I was doing these films, and whenever I got to do a movie, I got to leave my school, and that was amazing. I mean, I still had to go to school on set. Michael and I were both in high school, so we had school. You know, we would go do a scene in the library, and then, you know, study algebra with our studio teacher, Irene. But it was really fun. It was great making these movies, working with John, working with these people. Yeah, it was a good time.
What about you, Ali?
I was really happy when we were doing this movie. We all really, I don't know if you could tell, but we all really do love each other. So it was. Stop! No, we love Emilio too. It was a joy. It was a joyful experience.
Were there specific challenges being young actors back then that you think that actors, young people now in the industry don't have to face or do have to face? How has it changed?
I think certainly technology's changed everything, right? Because everybody has a phone in their pocket and they're watching movies on their phone. And, you know, I think that aspect of the world has changed. I think in some ways it's actually, I think, harder now. So I'm very impressed with the new generation. Anthony Michael Hall for AARP. How are you? Well, I get those in the mail too. I'm like, shit, I threw them out before my wife sees them. Anyhow, where was I? Passing the buck.
What about I know that the time the media made a big deal about the Brat pack and all of that kind of stuff. What did you guys make of all that, the Brat pack and all of those kind of things that were going out in the media?
Anyone?
Oh, I don't think it was in reference to us. Oh, okay.
It was a
But
pejorative.
Andrew McCarthy's in the back. Let's bring him up now. Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was a play on the Rat Pack, which was a group of, Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. and those guys. And then it was a term that was coined, I think, after this New York Magazine piece. And then we all kind of just sort of fell under this banner. And I think it was kind of, in a way, sort of minimized the work that we were doing. I mean, that's the way that I felt,
Didn't mean
Yeah.
shit to me, but that's just me.
Now, obviously the film's all about being a teenager, like being mothers, Molly and Ali, when you were finally bringing up your own kids, was there anything that you reflected on bringing up teenagers in terms of maybe what the film taught you, or you reflected back on that time, or was it just completely like balls to the wall, it is what it is?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understood the question.
Is there anything, because you're mothers as well, when you're bringing up your own teenagers, was there anything that you learned from that time?
Oh yeah. Well, I have two teenagers right now. I have two 15-year-olds and I have a 21-year-old. And because I did all these teen movies, I always thought that I was going to be sort of like an expert on, and I know nothing. All right, I know nothing. Everything is different. I mean, all the slang is different, all the music, of course, is different. So it really sort of takes work to stay up on everything. But the one thing that I do think is the same is all the feelings, that the Breakfast Club explored, that feeling of being othered, being different, not belonging, all the cliques, all of that is still the same. And I think that's one of the reasons why those movies still speak to other generations.
I think John Hughes did a really good job of that, of not othering young people, and there was something very inclusionary about the way that he wrote for young people. Did you guys get a chance to collaborate with him very directly as storytellers when you were working with him?
Well, John was always like that. In fact, I think it's fair to say we all felt that with John. He was always accessible. He would often sit underneath the camera, next to the camera. He was rarely at Video Village, where you kind of watch the shot from a monitor, and he was just right there, always with us, and kind of talking you through the take. And I think every performance was a collaboration with him because he was so open, so accessible, and he just cut us loose because the scripts are always great, the scenes are always there and written. I felt, but he was great because he would let us just try stuff. So if we had an idea, because he was so cool, he'd be like, "Yeah, try that." So it was really great. And I'm getting all the feels right now because I was in Halloween Kills and I see Michael Myers right there in the fourth row. Haven't you had enough of me? Somebody hand me my bat, please. Let's give it up for Michael Myers right there. Very nice. I'm sorry. I digress.
Hello, Michael's just waving his knife, like, yes, that is me. Hello, I am Mr. Myers.
And William Shatner Ghostface is scaring the shit out of me still.
Tell us a little bit more about what you took from your time with John Hughes going on to other projects. Were there things that you specifically learned from John that you took onwards as actors?
John wanted us to be collaborators and allowed us to be collaborators. It's been my experience that almost all the directors that have followed John Hughes, they say the word collaboration, but they just want to delay before they tell you what to do, which is not collaboration. It's just delaying the edict. So it was, I don't know what it was for Ali and Emilio, but we went right from The Breakfast Club to St. Elmo's Fire. And it's not just the subject matter was so different. The way people treated each other was different. You go to the set on Breakfast Club, you're a part of it. The crew's part of it. John Hughes is part of it. We're all equal. In St. Elmo's Fire, it was not that way. It was almost as if we were not liked by the director, which is definitely different from, certainly it's different from being liked by the director, but it's different from working with people on the same project. You got the feeling like maybe some actors were working on project A, some actors were working on project B, some actors were working on project C. You don't really notice it until the movie comes out. And Breakfast Club is very consistent. All the scenes are consistent. in St. Elmo's, some are more exciting, some are almost perfunctory, some have no meaning at all. So, for me anyway, the movies that followed were less fun.
So how do you deal with that when you go from this fun project with people that you absolutely love and then you're going into like a space that feels a little bit different? How do you deal with that as an actor?
Well, I don't know, for me, I could look at Ali and I could look at Emilio. And I go, is this fun? Am I missing the fun? So I didn't feel that I was the only one who felt that way. Not that they felt that way, but there was that sense, it was weird. It felt like work. Breakfast Club didn't feel like work. What?
Thank you, Mom.
So they can hear you.
Yeah. I was throwing my voice. No.
It's so funny, I'm seeing the ghosts of all my co-stars. There's Heath Ledger, let's give it up for the Joker. You know, and it made me think of why it's so serious. What's interesting is after the work with John, for me it became more of a career. I think that John just kind of liberated us, and he just, as Judd articulated, it was always a collaboration, always a discussion, he was always open to stuff, so it was just wonderful. But I think I had a similar feeling in the decades since, if I may. I longed for that connection that I had with John, that we all did, you know. It was just...
It seems elemental that we would know we're all on the same team. You wouldn't have to be reminded you're on the same team every day. That's a different kind of working experience. And because we all liked each other on St. Elmo's Fire, we all got along great with each other.
But I want that director dead.
Where do you think? Now, I used to have a podcast called Real Imagined Futures, where we would talk about famous movie characters and what they did after their stories ended. Like you said, Doubtfire and so on and so forth. Usually rehab or some kind of alcoholism, that's what we all ended up talking about. Lots of therapy. But I wanted to ask about your characters in The Breakfast Club. Where do you think they would be today at your age now? What would they be doing? What jobs would they be doing? Who would they be in the world?
I think Bender's clearly the principal of the school.
I went to school with a girl who was a glue sniffer. She used to bring a little paper bag and she'd sniff glue and then do her exam. She went on and became a really great geography teacher, so...
It all goes back to childhood, I know.
Don't want to call her out.
Hey, you know, glue's very underrated.
Don't do glue, kids.
And you know, only the weak brain cells get killed.
I should know if we stop. We're very self-appreciating. What about your characters? So where would you guys be, do you think, now at this age? What would you be doing?
Allie, let's hear from Allie.
Yep.
I think Allison would have ended up being a writer, actually. Probably a writer. Thank you. Editor, writer, maybe a professor, something intellectual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Writer. Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
What about you, Molly?
I think that Claire probably got married a few times. And then maybe decided she liked women. I don't know. You know, her kids are grown up and, you know, she's like, okay, I'll try that. Didn't work out so well with the guys. I don't know. You know, that's one of the great things about this movie is like, you know, it's great that we don't know. And it could be any number of things. And it's sort of like, I feel like it's up to the viewer to really.
That reminds me, everybody wants to know the punchline of that joke. Was there ever a punchline of the joke when you're crawling in the thing? Okay, we can settle that after 40 years.
You know, as the script was written, Bender has no lines. He just walks through the thing and falls through. So I asked John, I go, how about if I tell a joke and right before the punchline, I fall through? And then so Emilio, John, Mike, and I tried to figure out a joke that had as its punchline the line I say when I fall through, I forgot my pencil. So we worked for about 15 minutes to come up with the joke, and we couldn't, it's time to shoot, and John just said, let's try and see. The first take, I used a lot of profanity. And John went, cut. no, we'll lose our rating. That's just, let's move on. And I went, can I do one more? That was just for me. Can I do one for you? And he was like, you got one more. And that's what we used. So there's no punchline in the joke. And sorry.
We have some pre-selected fan questions here, if you don't mind answering those. These were collected online. So this is from Jason T. from Orlando, Florida. So looking back, what is one scene from The Breakfast Club that still makes you laugh every time you see it? Who would like to start?
The day when there was the screw coming out of the door, it'll be anarchy. Do you remember that day? Because Emilio couldn't stop laughing. That was the screw in the door, and the bookcase kept moving. And I got to
walking away with the toilet cover.
You remember that?
Oh yeah.
The door's way too heavy. It's not coming.
It was just, everything with the door was going wrong, and
Paul, so
funny.
Paul Gleason, may he rest in peace, was great to work with. He was great to hate. He would ask us at the end of a shooting, where are you guys going to dinner? He'd be like, why do you want to? He's like, well, because I'd like to join you. We don't want you to join us.
Yeah, those two went at it, just like in the movie. It was awesome.
And I thought that the scene where I'm in the room where he's put me, and he's going to tell me, no one cares about you, I'll beat you up, what are you going to do? I'll knock your dick in the dirt or whatever. And I realized that he can hit me in the scene. If he punches me, that can still work for him. I can't punch him back. That doesn't work at all. So I'm thinking in the scene as he starts getting a little more intense, I hope that I don't get knocked unconscious.
Because Paul was thinking about it.
It'd be very uncool if Bender gets knocked out by him. If I were to get hit and maybe bleed a little bit, that'd be cool. But
Now, how did you perfect that feathery mullet? We all want to know. The mullet at the time, you had the nice little that was awesome hair.
some great hair, great in the middle of it. And I think that's what's Bender.
Judd was so old, and I remember I happened to have the good fortune of being cast, like Molly and I were cast, and I was in the audition process in New York. I'll never forget when Judd came in and his audition. I swear to you guys, he was wearing everything he was wearing in the movie. Bouncing the ball, with the dickies on, and the boots, just the attitude. He came and just crushed it. It was awesome. All that.
The audition, I go home and I get a call from my agent saying that John doesn't believe that the guy that did the audition is someone that can act with Molly and Michael, who he's worked with before, who are minors, who are under 18. He's concerned about it. So I talked to him on the phone for 45 minutes, and then he tells my agent that he doesn't believe the guy he spoke with on the phone is the same guy that did the audition.
That's it.
So I'm like, I don't know, how am I supposed to react? And they go, well, they haven't made a decision yet. Maybe they'll call you when they start auditioning people in LA. So I waited.
You got the right one, baby. He was the man for the job, no doubt. He was awesome.
This is a question just for Judd from Caleb W. from Tampa. Judd, Bender's fist in the air moment is one of the most iconic endings in film history. Yeah? Did you know it would be such a big deal when you filmed it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, we knew that we were filming something that was unique. There were no sex scenes, no sensational moments. We knew it was basically minors sitting around talking.
Yeah.
Was that going to be something that people would want to see? We all read the script. We like the script, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a good movie. You hope it is, but so we see it. I just know that when we had the screening of it, I was very tense, and I would go into the men's room to vomit a little bit before the thing. And I think I'm alone in the bathroom, but I'm not. There's someone else there, and I'm like, oh. And it's Emilio also throwing up. So we did not know how he responded too well at all. It's like, so I'm glad I was part of the show.
Thank you, Judd. This one's for Ali. So Ali, you brought such a unique energy to Alison, didn't you? Yeah. One thing I thought Ali was so cool when I was wee. I was like, she's so cool. So Ali, you brought such unique energy. What's one thing about her that you really connected with? And that's from Vanessa M. from Jackson.
Allison, I got to be on the outside with Allison the way I actually felt on the inside all through high school. And growing up, and here is a director who is just gonna let me be and be free and pull all those feelings up, and he was collaborative with the way Allison was gonna look, and I loved that I didn't have to speak for half of the movie. Sits well with me. It was a film that I did, honestly, a film that I did right before Breakfast Club was a film where there was just an insane amount of attention put on what I looked like, what I weighed. It was crushing. I somehow got through it, and then I got to be in Breakfast Club and just be completely free, and it was all fine. And then we did St. Elmo's Fire, and it was right back again to, constant under a microscope about what you look like. And so, just feeling free, I felt like I could be really, really creative instead of trying to be some kind of something for somebody that thought I wasn't exactly right all the time.
Allie,
So
was that movie Bad Boys? Was it Bad Boys?
No, it's Organs.
Which one? Organs, oh,
Thank you, Ali. Molly, this one's for you. You starred in so many beloved 80s films. This is from Erica J. What's one behind-the-scenes moment from The Breakfast Club that fans may not know about?
Gosh, I don't know. Behind the scenes moment that fans don't know about.
God damn it, Erica G.
No, he was a fly on the wall.
I don't know. Nothing really comes to mind. I mean, it was fun. It was a great experience. It was, yeah.
I want to ask you.
There was a moment. There was that moment when the reviews came out for 16 Candles, and they brought the TV onto the set.
Really?
Yeah. And Hughes, we paused shooting. Hughes got to see the review, and we're all sitting there like, "Wow, I hope it's a good review."
Was it? Was it a good review? Oh, good. All right.
It was like one of these ones like, "Wow, this could be awful. Maybe the director should not watch these reviews."
No, but didn't we all went to see the screening of it? Didn't we all go? Yes, we did.
Yes, but I mean, when the reviews came out was when he brought the TV.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I remember, okay, here's a random thing. I remember reading about Rock Hudson having HIV when I was on the set of The Breakfast Club. I know that doesn't really seem like a very fun moment, but
That's the funny moment.
no, yeah, it wasn't a funny moment, but it was like, it was of a time, it was like, oh, something's different. And, that AIDS and HIV was a huge part of growing up in the 80s. And it's something that, kids don't really think about now. But for me, it was huge. So it was kind of an important moment for me.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you. Okay, this one's for Anthony.
Yes, dear. Can I just hear you say we this and a we that and a we?
And I sound like my mother.
I love the Scottish accent.
I hear myself on the big speakers. I'm like, Mother? This is true.
Beautiful.
Having an existential moment.
Oh, no.
Mother! Okay, a wee question for you then.
A wee one, we'll take a wee one.
Just a wee one. Anthony, Brian's essay pretty much speaks for everyone in the movie. If you had to sum up The Breakfast Club in one sentence today, what would it be? And that's from Derek H. from Tallahassee.
That same day, Brian went home and discovered masturbation. I got nobody. I love that the girlfriend, that was a running joke with John. My girlfriends were always in Canada. So if I can answer that earlier question, I think Brian may have wound up in Canada or he started a tech startup. Did well. In the Niagara Falls area. Without elephantitis in the nuts. Okay, good night, everybody.
Thank you. And this is for everybody from Lisa Z from Naples, Florida. The movie's soundtrack is legendary, of course. If the film were made today, what song would you want to replace Don't You Forget About Me?
It's impossible to think about any other song other than for me. That every time I hear those chords, it always has some. I don't know. You know, you're in like the grocery store. You hear dun 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 dun.
I feel like that song follows me around. Do you guys feel that way sometimes?
But it always like feels like something. It was just the perfect song. So I don't know. I can't think of another
Maybe
song.
like something by Post Malone, a big Post Malone.
What were you guys listening to back then? You know, when you were sort of younger, filming on
The
set?
Cure. I was listening to
Yeah, who were you guys? So what were you, Ali? Who were you listening to back then?
Molly and I would listen to Joan Armatrading in the car on the way to
She
work.
was all about the folk songs. You've always loved your folk songs. Yeah, Bill Oakes.
Yeah, and what else? Oh, we were listening to a lot of David Bowie.
A lot of David Bowie.
Psychedelic first. I mean, John had such a hand on the pulse. He would school us on music, and he would make us mixtapes. You guys remember that? He would get into making mixtapes.
A
Yeah.
lot of the Beatles.
Beatles were big, John. I listened to everything. Growing up, I was always into everything. I loved 60s rock, 70s rock. I got into hip hop. I got into everything. Barry Manilow. Does he know I raided his wardrobe?
Yeah, I think he does.
What about you, Judd? What was on your cassette player back then?
Other than weed.
Yes.
Talk in the mic.
Rolling Stones, Clash, Sex Pistols. I like some Billy Idol songs, but it was not like. It's too much makeup to me.
Let's make a deal. If you can't hear Judd, just shout, Mike! Can you do that? Okay, listen, Mike. Okay, so the next question here is from Nathan B. from St. Petersburg. Sorry, I'm not going to
Was it Nathan Wee?
Nathan B.
Oh, Nathan B. It was a wee bee.
Not everything is we. Not everything is we. If your characters had a group chat in 2025, who do you think would text the most and who would barely reply?
That's so funny. I think that everybody, obviously, we're all walking around with mobile devices these days. I think I saw some hilarious meme that if the Breakfast Club would be made today, none of us would have interacted at all because we'd all be on our phones. Good night, everybody. Thanks a lot.
That's true. Do you have a group text chat? No. No? No group text chat. So, but you do text each other occasionally and like say hi, or do you keep in touch quite a lot?
Allie and I text all the time.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
I text a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're frozen out, Michael.
Huh?
I'm an old dad, so I'm in bed by 8 o'clock at night. I'm a 2-year-old now. I don't know what happened, but anyway, let's have a family.
All right, okay, sorry, Anthony. Okay, so what's the wildest or most creative breadth of cosplay or fan tribute you have ever seen from Megan L?
I saw a bunch of Claires today. Anybody who's here, give it up, stand up, Claire. Let's give it up for Claire. Anybody else cosplay? I saw some better shirts, lumberjack shirt. Yeah, Claire. Claire, another Claire. All right.
I love that. Oh, God. Anyone else on this side?
Should we all break out to a ladies' dance right now? Tell me.
Love it. And that guy over there did the fist bump. Yeah.
There he is. We got a bender over there? Where is he?
Yeah!
He's got the hair. I love it.
Oh my God, the hair is so good. Okay, so this is the last one from Marcus D. from Charlotte. Okay, so if John Hughes had made a Breakfast Club sequel, what do you think it would have been about?
It starts during COVID, and we're all locked up together. No, I have no idea. What would it be about? You know, I have to say, the last time I got to speak to John, it was about 1988, and he called me with John Candy on the phone. And we just hung out on the phone for a couple hours talking, and I was so happy to hear from both of them. And he did tell me at that time that he had it in his mind. He was playing with the idea of doing a sequel, picking up on where they would be as adults, wherever that is. So that was, I think it was something that he was conjuring and thinking about, yeah.
If John was around today and he called all of you guys and said, right, we're going to go ahead, I really want to do the sequel, Would you say
I'd
yes?
say yes in a I'd say yes in a second. In a second. It wouldn't even matter what he was doing, I would just say yes.
Yeah? You guys as well? Yeah, I would. It would be so much fun to see that. God, I'd love to see that. What about you guys, yeah? But I feel like it would only have to be with John. Do you agree? Yeah, you agree? Guys, what was that? Mic! I'm holding the mic! Guys, you're absolutely wonderful. Like, I want to ask you, like, you know, it's been decades later. Look at this crowd. I mean, what do you think really keeps that feeling alive, that keeps people coming out to conventions like this? What do you think that is that the fans are holding on to?
Well, I think that Hughes wrote a great script.
Yeah.
And he wrote a script that had applications to, it doesn't matter what your experience in high school was. You can maybe be one of these 5 or different pieces of those 5. Lots of variables, but you can locate yourself within the variables of those 5.
Microphone.
Sorry about that.
We're all going deaf. It's okay.
Oh, and we've got like a random phone. Thank you very much. That is nice.
We Becky when
I love how people do genuinely think we say we, and I think I say it more in America than I ever said it in Scotland. But yeah, like, you guys are around all weekend, is that correct? Cool. So people can come up and ask you questions. You don't mind?
You can ask us, but don't ask Allie anything.
What would you say before we go, like, because I always wonder, you know, I never go up and see any of the guests at their tables. Are there any questions that you get from fans that genuinely stump you and you think, I can't ask that? Any really nerdy questions that people ask?
Oh, it has to be about Judge Jones. I'm glad you clarified that too. Yeah.
And they asked me about what was that like in the scene where I'm under the table with Molly? And I'm like, what do you know?
That was not me. They hired some other person to do that. Just so you know.
Yes,
I
I
was
did know.
16 years old.
I did know that. I did know that.
Yeah. Did you? Did you?
16. Who?
Guys, I am absolutely honoured to be sitting with all 4 of you. I genuinely am so excited.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Give it up for
Thank
the
you
audience.
guys. You guys. Thank you very much.